right. So there's some big news out of Walmart.com. Late August 2022, just a few weeks ago, Walmart removed restrictions for their new seller approval process. So there are no more questions about your revenue size. There's no more questions about your catalog. There's no more questions about selling in other marketplaces. And since that's happened, thousands of new sellers have joined the platform. And just to put that in perspective, that is 4 times as many as before. And that's rivaling Amazon numbers. So if you are a seller who has already started their Walmart marketplace journey and are looking to scale and optimize and grow, or if you are a new seller who wants to join in before the masses, get to Walmart.com, I've got a very special guest with me here today. Andrew Hammond is from Net & Company, and he is going to talk about how to improve your place in the Walmart.com marketplace. For any new faces out there, my name is Hiba Weber. I am the co-founder of SellerMobile. SellerMobile is an order management software for Amazon and Walmart sellers. Our goal is to help you identify gaps in profitability, for you to automate your pricing and your product reviews, and most importantly, optimize your inventory processes. So, Andrew, tell us about yourself and what we're going to learn today.
Great. Hello. So yes, I'm Andrew Hammond. I work for Net & Company, who's a e-commerce consulting company. I have personally been doing e-commerce consulting, but mainly in Walmart.com for the last 3 years. And it's been a great experience. I've learned a ton about it, and I'm really excited to share it with you all. In general, what we're going to learn today, let's see, let me share this presentation with you all. Here we go. All right, so today we're going to learn about how to be successful on Walmart.com, or at least head in that direction. Like I said, I'm a Walmart.com specialist and have been doing e-commerce consulting for 3 years. So you are a most likely third-party seller on Walmart.com, someone who has joined Walmart, you have an Amazon business, and you do great on Amazon, but you're looking for new channels. Right, so we're going to go through some pretty simple steps to get you started and learn how to be successful. So these are my 3 main steps today. The first being you're going to catalog to your customer. Something interesting about Walmart is that the customer on Walmart.com is actually different than, let's say, an Amazon customer. Think about it as someone going to Lowe's versus Target. Okay, so someone going to Lowe's is looking for PVC pipes, so looking for doorknobs, light bulbs. Someone going to Target might be looking for birthday cards, clothes, toothpaste, things like that. And what that means is that those customers are not the same, they might be the same person, but they are not looking for the same products. So the same thing applies for Walmart versus Amazon. So I'll get into that later. The next big step is to optimize your listings for Walmart.com. This all comes back to the customer, right? So because the customer is different, the optimization is going to be different because they're looking for different bits of information and they want to see it in a certain way. And this is actually all determined by Walmart, and it's in an attempt to make it feel like a store. Then third will be to gain traffic through advertising. That's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll get into that later. So when it comes to your catalog, you want to know your customer. Like I said, it's Walmart versus Amazon. And in my head, I see those as the big players, and Walmart's this huge opportunity for so many third-party sellers. And the differences can come down to a few simple ones, being price, right? So a Walmart customer is going to be looking for a slightly different price, slightly lower price usually than what they're looking on Amazon for. And also they have a tendency to trust brands more than people on Amazon. Think about, you search for like a dongle, right, for your computer on Amazon. You don't care what brand it is. You're just looking for something that does what it needs to do. But very often a Walmart customer actually is looking for, the Apple branded dongle, because they know how to trust a brand because they've been in stores and they see the brands all over the place. Now, this determines what you want to bring over into your assortment. Let's say you have 1,000 items in your Amazon, right? You don't exactly want to bring all 1,000 of those, even if they all do fine on Amazon. You want to just, at first, choose your top sellers, as I have here, and spend the most resources on those top sellers. Because what you're trying to do at the beginning is to get traffic onto your items and get some conversion right away. Because the worst thing that you can do is bring an item on Walmart and it gets zero traffic and zero success. And so you're much better off starting with your good top sellers. And then third, like I said, you want to have items that are competitive price-wise. So you should be able to do some research in the category that you're working on, and sort of just do a search on Walmart.com for your item and see what's already there, and ask yourself, is your item competitive price-wise? So these will help you think about what items you want to maybe bring over from Amazon onto your Walmart.
So I have a couple of questions yeah. So the first question is Walmart versus Amazon. So I really kind of like that insight that you shared about, brands versus not brands. So would you say that wholesalers do better on Walmart than maybe brands, like small brands that are Amazon that are coming to Walmart? Or do you think there's still opportunity for, the brands, the smaller Amazon type brands?
Right. I would say there's tons of opportunity for those smaller brands because they're not there yet, right? So these smaller brands, a lot of them, they just are starting to get onto Walmart. And so Walmart doesn't really know exactly what's going to happen as all of these third-party sellers come on. And yes, those brands that are already in store have an advantage because they're so weighted in the customer's eyes. They see it, they walked in a Walmart and they saw it, and now they searched it and they see it there. So they are weighted heavily. However, there's so much opportunity because they're opening the door to these third-party sellers.
One of the things that I'd read recently about Walmart was, Walmart, before they allowed all of these like new sellers to come and remove the restriction processes, they were really kind of careful in what they wanted. And then now their approach is, let the free market decide. Let's see what happens. Let the buyers decide what they want. And so that almost sounds like there's a lot of advantage to these smaller brands that can price cheaper, that can be potentially more competitive, to see if they get right to the top. What do you think about that?
That's perfectly true. There's no doubt in my mind that Walmart is growing and not, it's still such a tiny little thing compared to the Amazon, traffic that they get. And it's just going to get huge over the next few years, I think, especially like you said, with these smaller businesses, these medium-sized businesses that can be competitive and can take action on their items because they're the ones who own the items. They're the ones who own the brand. It's not some large company that can't control what's on their items. So
in terms of the top sellers, do you have like a good number to start off with? And if you have a catalog of, let's say, even like 30 or 100 products, what's like a good number to start with?
I would take to start with and spend your most energy on would be your top 25% of your items. 20 to 30% is perfectly fine. It's like, and you can bring them all on. There's nothing wrong with bringing on items. However, like I said, if you don't do this next step of optimization, which can be pretty tedious, you will be kind of wasting your energy and time on those extra items. So I like to just say like 25%, top 25 top sellers. You're going to be in good shape to start with those.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the item optimization, I'm going to ask Hiva, the biggest idea that I think is that you want to replicate the in-store shopping experience. So Hiba, if you were to be walking in a Walmart and you saw this trash can in the aisle, what attributes would you come to mind right away?
Yeah, so I obviously color would be a big one, right? Because I'm trying to match maybe my decor, maybe the weight of the item, because I can't necessarily see that in like the I can see that in store, but I can't online. Maybe some like other functionalities that it has that like foot pedal, and like it opens from the top, maybe even about the inside, like where the trash bag goes, it's their little toggles there. You can, I don't know, those would be kind of some
Right. That that's perfect. Yeah. Like basically you'd walk in and see this and you would start testing it out. You'd start opening it. You'd see if there's something to hold the trash bag. You'd also be like, okay, which size trash can or trash bag does this hold? And what's funny is that in person you won't exactly get that without looking at the ticker, that would tell you, oh, it's a 13.3 gallon trash can, holds all the standard hefty bag, whatever. And so what you want to do when you're creating these items and thinking about how you want to optimize, it's much more about creating that experience of an in-store shopper. You want to give them that information they get by just walking by it in the title, right? And you also want to do that in the image. So that's why images are very important, as we all kind of know. That's the first impression you see. And then you look at the title. And so it's going to fall in that order of importance of how you optimize these items. Now, what's great about Walmart.com is that they've, over the last 2 years, have been implementing new things for these third-party sellers to do things themselves. They really have upgraded it every month or two. It gets better and better, and those changes are sometimes frustrating because they take you away from what you've been doing, and they're like, why do I have to make it different now? But it stays on top of it, so it lets you know what to do. So in Walmart Seller Center, if any of you have looked at it, if you're already selling, you can go on the left of the screen and see the tabs there. There's one called Growth Opportunities, and this is going to be your favorite tab for optimization. It's going to tell you everything you need, and it's pretty magical. And honestly, if you have more questions about it, you can email me or our company and just ask. We'll let you know how to use it. But like I said, there they tell you how to optimize your title, how many characters, how to optimize your descriptions, your bullet points, how many images you need, and all the basics. And one of the most important parts of it is attributes. So like you said, does it have a foot pedal? Does it hold a 13-gallon trash bag? The color, all of those attributes that you should have somewhere in a document of your items will go in there, and having those filled out is of utmost importance in terms of optimizing your items. The next bullet there, including keywords throughout your PDP. Your PDP is your product detail page. That is, you just click on this trash can, the image with the title, and now you're on the PDP, right? You see all of the information. What's really important when you're adding these descriptions, and although you're following the directions, it doesn't always tell you the best way to do it. So the optimal way is going to be to include these keywords. So trash can, right? We have keywords thinking 13-gallon, trash can with lid and foot pedal. Like those are keywords that people are searching for. So you need to have those in those descriptions and bullet points. And it's much different than Amazon. I'm just going to assume a lot of people watching this already have an Amazon store. Amazon is so, when I see it as very formulaic. You have this 200 character title, and then you have these bullet points with like capital letters and then like another paragraph, because they're trying to fit all this information above the fold, on that right when you click to see it all without scrolling. But on Walmart, it's much different. If you've seen the growth opportunities tab, you will know how different it is. They don't want long titles. They don't want long descriptions. They want it compact, and they don't want you to, what's the term? Like throwing keywords, keyword stashing into like everything. They don't want to see that. But you still have to be smart about it and put them where you can. The whole reason the optimization is important, though, is because it's going to increase that conversion, and it goes back to the customer. The customer is looking for that in-store experience on Walmart.com. They are most likely in-store customers. So when they go onto that website, they expect it to feel pretty similar. And when you optimize these items in this way, you increase that conversion because they feel comfortable. One of the easiest ways, or the biggest ways that it helps, is that it improves your organic search result. So let's say you have this trash can, and before you optimize, you're on the third page, like fifth item on the third page. If you run these optimizations, that could take you 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending what you already have. You could now be second on the second page, right? Or fifth on the second page. And then you do some more, and now you're at the bottom of the first page, and so on. So that's why that's really important. And then it also, like I said, gives the customers what they need to know and helps them feel comfortable. You have any questions?
Nope. This is great information.
Great. Now, the third step is advertising. I will be honest, and advertising is not my strong suit. However, I fully understand why we need it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the second bullet here. The ultimate goal with advertising is to gain the visibility and traffic. So it's an inorganic way to gain conversions and traffic and clicks so that the algorithm starts to see this item as being popular. And although you're paying for this position, usually first, second, or third on the first page of a search term, you are getting that view and the clicks in order to tell that algorithm that you are popular, so that when you slow down the ads or you turn them off for a certain season, that you still gain weight in the algorithm. And that's one of the most important reasons we do it, but it's also to just gain some sales as well. And if you have a good ROAS, return on ad spend, and you choose the right keywords to bid on, which, if I go back to this first bullet point, what you're focusing on when you are doing advertising, especially on Walmart, is focusing on high traffic, low competition keywords. What this means is, let's say the traffic for the search term trash can is like through the roof, right? But that's also a very competitive keyword because everybody has a trash can. Now, if you expanded on that and said trash can with lid, right? This is still a high traffic thing. However, not as many people potentially are paying for that ad for with lid. And so now you get somebody searching trash can with lid or foot pedal, and now you can have a cheaper price because it's less competitive than just trash can, and you're still getting plenty of traffic because it's still a high traffic keyword. So that's the basic on that. And then the other sort of motto from my boss that I get is we follow the trend. So whole idea is, let's say it's back to school, like right now, sell lunch boxes or lunch bags, right? Like every parent is getting their kid a lunch bag in the month of August. And so you want to start bidding on those keywords during this time of year. And when it's not this time of year, there's almost no need to bid as heavily on those keywords. Going into Halloween, let's say you sell a bunch of random Halloween costumes, you'd want to be bidding, over the last 2-3 weeks up through middle of October, and then start to slow it down as the traffic on those keywords slows down. So advertising is a very moving object because you get data back after the fact. You see how well your campaigns did, and you need to adapt for the next step. And so you kind of have to be taking a look every week at this information that you get back from advertising. But this is one of those little bit more in detail conversations that you can totally email us. Like I said, we can set up a conversation about the actual process of setting up advertising and things like that. Any question?
Yeah, can I ask some questions about advertising? So I know that this might be like comparing apples to oranges and it might not be fair, but I think a lot of sellers that are already in Amazon are kind of wanting to understand how the Walmart side works. So one of the biggest pain points that Amazon sellers have is that average CPC, that cost per click, has gone up so much in Amazon. So advertising has become more competitive, become more expensive. And so when it comes to Walmart, would you say that you can get further without doing as much advertising? Or is it just different? So that would be one question. And then if it is different, what is like the average cost per click? Is that lower than you would find in Amazon because there's less competition? There's like a loaded question, but you can like break it apart.
Right. So to your first question, like I said, I'm not the expert on advertising. However, my experience says that they do it a bit differently. So like I'm not sure how Amazon does it, but I believe Walmart is going to take your bid even if nobody is like right below you. So you're bidding at, let's just say 30 cents on a keyword and the next lowest bid was 20 cents. They're still going to take your 30-cent bid. Now this might have changed recently, but that's how I think it's different from Amazon. But I think the advantages to that are you're not always getting pushed up by this thing. So you could be at 30 cents and you'll always be winning that ad spot because, people are testing out this right below you and they're not getting the top spot and then they go above you by a cent or whatever. Now to your second question of you're asking the potential, what was it exactly again?
Sorry. Organic potential. So like essentially like because it's not as competitive, Walmart.com isn't as competitive as Amazon for at least some, some items. Can you get further without having to invest in advertising? Can you organically get further than you would maybe in Amazon?
Yes. Yeah. So due to the fact that there are less sellers on Walmart, your dollar goes a lot further and your investment of time into this optimization process also goes a lot further. Amazon, I will see like 6 advertisements at the beginning or 4, and then down the page there's 3 more and whatever. On Walmart, I have yet to see more than a couple on the top, maybe 3 on the top for the top 3 spots. So yeah, your organic reach as you do these optimizations will be much more successful on Walmart.com at the moment than they will be on Amazon. And I think in general, your investment of time on Walmart is going to still be beneath your sales on Amazon because of the general nature of it. But like I said, if you get in the door now and start spending this time, your items will gain that weight of conversion. They just, like, I think the snowball effect will happen very slowly for a lot of people because it's just like exponential, it's going very slowly and then it speeds up. So that that investment of time into your optimization, or money if you don't have the time, is pretty beneficial at the moment. There's still so much room for it to grow.
Right.
Okay. So we're finishing up those. I guess let me first just explain kind of what I just talked about. When you're approaching this optimization process, you want to always remember about the customer. It's like right now I'm thinking about who I'm talking to, right? I'm talking to most likely third-party sellers that want to get in and grow on Walmart.com. So as a seller, and this through marketing and selling, that you need to think of your customer. And if you don't know the Walmart customer exactly, the best way to figure it out is to literally be a Walmart customer. Go on to Walmart.com and shop for things that you would normally buy on Amazon, and maybe make a couple purchases to just go through that experience and see what it's like on Walmart.com and how that differs from Amazon. Like there's just so many benefits of having that brick and mortar store, that you can ship to that store and a customer could pick it up potentially. There's many different shipping things like that as well. But so like I said, always think of the customer as you're doing any of these steps and think about what they need and want. But here we go. Walmart.com is growing and changing. So like I said, over the last 2 years, it's been changing month by month. They send out a newsletter. Hey, we're doing this now. Hey, like this big change here. Now we're letting thousands more sellers come onto the platform, and it's moving very quickly. And I think it's going to start slowing down as more people start getting in there and need it to stay a little bit more stable. But as of recently, 138 million unique monthly visitors is a lot, and there's a ton of potential for businesses to grow on Walmart. And you start adding a channel, every channel you add to your marketplaces is a potential, like, it's exponentially powerful, because if you start incrementally increasing those sales, you're now bringing in so much more revenue than you had without it. And so I like to think it's growing and changing quickly, but you want to get in the door now so that the slow growth of your items and your top sellers can start gaining that traffic. Another interesting point, which is the idea of the brick and mortar store, 1P versus 3P. Okay, so if you've never heard these before, it's 1P is a first party and 3P is third party. I've said that several times now. The majority of sellers are that third party, and all that means is you create an account, you now have your items on Seller Center, and you're selling drop ship or from your warehouse or from Walmart Fulfillment Services, WFS. And it's a very, good way of doing it. However, there are these other companies that are 1P, first party, which just means they're selling in the store already, right? So a very good example, I think Good Value is Walmart's brand. They're a first party seller. Yes, it is Walmart's brand, but they are selling in store and they sell on Walmart.com. So they're going to have sort of a weight in customers' minds, right? They have this, oh, I've seen Good Value in the store, so I'm going to buy those light bulbs or something like that. And so it's just different than Amazon, right? Because Amazon only has these third-party sellers, other than Amazon brands and things like that. But because there's no in-store experience, the Amazon customer can't even imagine really what it would be like to go walk in a store and buy this random dongle that's from this random brand. They don't even think about it like that. They just go on buying this product. And that kind of comes back to why brand is powerful. However, the lack of third-party sellers on Walmart at the moment is what I think Walmart doesn't know what's going to happen as we move forward with all these new third-party sellers. So I just like to keep that in mind and know that you're competing against some pretty powerful brands. However, there's so much potential there. And finally, the really interesting point that I heard recently was that 82% of people shopping for grocery in stores are on their phones. Now, this is at Walmart. And basically, if you're looking at your phone, you're shopping for groceries and you're looking at a checklist. I need beans, pasta sauce, whatever. That's a potential upsell in general, right? If you're on your phone and you can be on a Walmart.com app or Walmart app, and you're looking at your shopping and you go, okay, what aisle is this in, right? You're figuring out about items, you're learning about items while in store and while on your phone. So there's this huge potential to understand that your product page, your PDP, is not just to make sales, right? It's to actually teach people about your product, and they can learn about your product. And over time, let's say your item's a high priced item, right? So somebody's not going to convert the first time, right? But they'll convert the third time they go on that page and start reading more in depth about that item. So I just think it's a pretty powerful idea of thinking your product page isn't just like, oh, my item's there, people can buy it. It's like you're actually wanting to tell the customer, like I said, what they need to know, and you want them to get excited about your product. Like, I mean, you could come up with 100 examples of items that are really exciting if you word it properly, but without the correct description and bullet points to get somebody excited, somebody wouldn't even be interested in it.
Let me
So
ask you, what place does product reviews play in this, right? So one of the things that you don't get when you're in store is product reviews. Someone's used it maybe for a couple of months or whatever and has something to say about it. Obviously, that's a huge part of Amazon, is the product reviews, to help people kind of understand and give your brand credibility. Tell me a bit about product reviews when it comes to like Walmart.com.
yeah, so product reviews play a weight in your content score, and that is definitely very important. You know, that Walmart's saying, okay, if you have 0 reviews, this product is going to have trouble in search. And there are ways to bring in reviews from, I'm not sure Amazon you can bring them over, but I know from like your own personal website or company website, you can get the reviews onto Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Shopify store. Oh, I didn't know this. So if you have a Shopify store, you could somehow like connect that to.
yes, I can't remember the name of like the the company that does it, but yeah, I think if you do some research, there should be a way to bring in your company's, your Shopify reviews and get them into your Walmart. And it might not say verified buyer or something like that, but to have them there in the first place is pretty good. And I've for clients, I've purchased their product and then left a review to make sure it says verified purchase. And that's a common way of doing it, just telling some friends like, hey, do you want to try my product? And you just need to leave a review to help my Walmart business. But yeah, reviews and they're pretty important, but they're also one of the harder steps to accomplish. So that's usually one of the last few things I work on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Moving on. So Net and Company, what we do is kind of what I've been talking about. In this little circle, you can see the cycle. We optimize the content to increase that conversion. And once we have that set to where Walmart says, yes, this is a great item, this looks great, images look good, then we focus on advertising to boost the visibility and gain that traffic inorganically to then gain organic strength. We take that advertising information and the conversion after we've been advertising for a bit, and we sort of re-optimize to increase that conversion even further and reduce that cost per click and increase the ROAS, because we find that ads, although I didn't make it seem super important, I think they are very important to gain, like I said, that inorganic strength to then fuel your organic business. And it just works in a cycle, and it kind of keeps going. And we do this for each item. And, on the bottom there, it says more traffic plus better conversion is more revenue. So we find, since Walmart is growing, we find that, this increased conversion, the more you work on this now, we think you're going to be very successful on Walmart.com. Like I said, Net and Company. Hopefully, at the end of this, you can actually go into your Seller Center. Hopefully, you have an account already. If you don't, like Hiba said, you can very easily do that now. But go check out your Seller Center. Go look into it and figure out what every tab does. That growth opportunities tab, don't forget that, because that is very key in learning how to optimize. You can check out our website, netandcompany.co, or email my boss, Emmanuel, at netandcompany.com. And with any questions, please. And thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. So this is great. Anyone who's interested or just has questions and wants to understand, they can book a discovery call with you or someone on your team. And the best way to do that is to go on the website or email Emmanuel at netandcompany.com. And you guys have been doing this for at least 3 years now. Is that correct?
I have been doing this for 3 years. They've been the co-owners. They've worked at Walmart, back when they had category specialists. And so in general, like Walmart used to do all this stuff, right, for sellers. And then they decided to sort of delete that part of the company. And now it's becoming something that, these third-party companies are doing on their own. And so it's great to be a part of it. And, it's Walmart's, I think, has a lot of future. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, I think sometimes Walmart is an enigma to people. They don't know how to go about it. And so it's really nice to have experts who have kind of been on either side of it, helping sellers, working for Walmart directly. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Andrew. This was great information.
Great. Thank you so much. This is awesome.